Mental health quotes can help you feel peace of mind if you're struggling, or they might help you understand someone else's mental health struggles. You often see mental health quotes as you're scrolling through social media, but making the choice to be curious and analyze a mental health quote may lead to a personal breakthrough, or at the very least, increased empathy for someone else's struggles. In this video, we're going to analyze a mental health quote from an unknown author. The quote is, "I know you're sad, so I won't tell you to have a good day. Instead, I advise you to simply have a day. Stay alive, feed yourself well, wear comfortable clothes, and don't give up on yourself just yet. It'll get better. Until then, have a day." If you watch this video to the end, you're going to understand how you can take some practical action steps to apply this mental health quote to your life in the next 24 hours. That is my guarantee. My name is Mike Feeney, and if you are new to this channel, welcome. I regularly share brand new videos, and I invite you to subscribe so you don't miss this opportunity. My company, Mike Feeney Inc., owns a website called lovelyrefinement.com, which is a women's mental health site. And this quote comes from an article titled 15 Mental Health Quotes That Make You Feel Less Alone. I invite you to read the full article if you'd like by clicking the link in the description. So again, the quote from this unknown author is, "I know you're sad, so I won't tell you to have a good day. Instead, I advise you to simply have a day. Stay alive, feed yourself well, wear comfortable clothes, and don't give up on yourself just yet. It'll get better. Until then, have a day." So let's dive in. I mean, this is all about having a bad mental health day, and that's different for everyone. I mean, maybe you're having a bad mental health day as you're watching this. There are two ways of digesting this, in my opinion, how to help yourself and how to support someone else who might be struggling. So let's start with you. I don't know if you remember fire drills from school. If you're a student, you know what fire drills are. I used to love fire drills, by the way, because I got to get out of a class that I didn't want to be in usually. And the part of a fire drill that I remember most is that, everything was just systemized. We did the same thing, every single time, and everyone knew what to do. And fortunately, a fire never happened. Hopefully it never ever will happen to anyone. But you know what to do if a fire happens when you do fire drills. And coping ahead is a lot like a fire drill. It helps you prepare for an emotionally stressful situation. And for example, I have a person in my life whom is very, I'm going to say this very carefully, very manipulative. And in order to prepare myself for dealing with them, if I know I have to deal with them, I might get triggered from dealing with them because that usually happens for me. So I avoid them as much as I can, but if I have to deal with them, I actually have pre-written scripts in my phone to say to them to shut down the conversation if they start becoming manipulative. That's an example of me coping ahead. Now, for a bad mental health day, I know for me, when I'm having a bad mental health day, I need to cancel as many meetings as possible. I need to make sure I'm drinking enough water. And I need to just be okay with just not being productive, which is very, very hard for me. So these are some examples of, what you need to do when you're having a bad mental health day, or going to end up in a situation that might lead to a bad mental health day. And again, when it comes to people, it's so interesting. You could have a conversation with just one person. It could bring you down for the whole day, like 30-second conversation even. So I think it's important to cope ahead, have a plan in place beforehand. So when you're feeling good, if you're feeling good watching this video, now's the time to create a plan. Also, let's talk about spoons. Christine Miserandino is a blogger who has lupus. And if you don't know much about lupus, it's an autoimmune disease that brings fatigue, fever, joint pain, and a long list of other symptoms. She wrote a blog post titled The Spoon Theory, where she describes how she showed her friend what it's like to have lupus. Basically, they were at a diner and she handed her friend 12 spoons. And each one represented, I guess, a unit of energy for the typical activities that we all do in a day, like showering, getting dressed. She took away a spoon for every task. And the idea of quantifying energy as spoons, and the idea that people with chronic illness, such as depression, only get a handful of spoons every day is a very important thing to understand here. And when you are having a bad mental health day, you might not have any spoons left or a limited number of spoons. I know for me, sometimes I only have 3 spoons and one of them is getting up to go to the bathroom when I'm having a bad mental health day. So the key is having some type of plan in place and ways of communicating with that with the people in your life. Now, when it comes to others, how do you support someone else who might be struggling? So John Terrell is my former therapist, friend, mentor, and I was attending a workshop, and on the wall there was this sign that says "No Advice Zone," and I asked him, I said, "What's up with that sign?" And he said, "Oh, let me make an announcement about it." And he said, basically, you're not allowed to give advice in my studio. And I think all of us were curious why. Well, he said because the moment we give advice to someone, especially when they're struggling, it's never about the other person. No, it's about hearing yourself give advice and feel good about it. Let me say that again. If someone is struggling, giving them advice is never about the other person. It's simply about hearing yourself give the advice and feel good, or try to feel good, because you gave them advice. So one of the things that I really try to do when someone else is struggling in my life is no advice, but asking questions like, how can I support you? Or help me understand. What kind of flexibility do you need from me? And what I have found is it gives someone else the space to either, they don't have to respond. They might just totally shut me down, or they might open up to me. And if they get comfortable enough, they might even ask me for advice. That's different if someone asks you for it. So it's really important to remember when someone else is struggling, especially with mental health, advice is the worst thing. So again, this powerful quote from this unknown author is, "I know you're sad, so I won't tell you to have a good day. Instead, I advise you to simply have a day. Stay alive, feed yourself well, wear comfortable clothes, and don't give up on yourself just yet. It'll get better. Until then, have a day." Love that. Powerful. So what is your next step? In the next 24 hours, what do you commit to start doing to apply this quote to your life? What do you commit to start doing? And I know for me, one of the things that I commit to doing is looking at my plan for self-care when I'm having a rough day. So I invite you to leave your answer in the comments below. And then courses. Yes, I have courses. I'm trying to think, what was I about to say? I have courses on mental wellness that you can find on opensesame.com. They've helped a lot of people. We've got a lot of people enrolled. And you get to learn from me. So if you like me or like how I present, you get to learn from me. If you don't like me or how I present, please do not take them. But again, check them out on opensesame.com. I will definitely leave a link in the description. And until the next video, take care of you.